broadcasting their stuff?
No,
it actually is not. No, that has been tried many a time before. I think the reason Twitch caught on is legitimately because of the gaming community. We all pretty much saw it. We thought, hey, this is awesome. They've got a great infrastructure. They're pretty hands off. They pretty much only step in when somebody is doing something patently illegal, like what Eli was saying. And I think it just kind of ran with it. So the problem is, how can you be original? It's the Simpsons paradox, right? How can you be original when it's either been tried before with low amounts of money backing it, or it's been tried and done so well that how do you actually dethrone that? Are you trying to say, Fred, are you trying to say that now something should step up and take the place of Twitch for gaming? Because Hitbox tried that.
No, I'm trying to say is Twitch becoming what it is today, starting with gaming and then evolving away from gaming because it felt like actually this is a viable platform for a lot of stuff? Or is Twitch actually saying we started with gaming and we saw that it was working for YouTube, we saw that it was working for this other channel, so let us just become like everybody else? In a way, I'm asking, is Twitch maintaining its originality by broadening the scope of its work?
Well, let's find out. Shane, I'll jump to you and then I'll take you again, Eli. I did not mean it to sound like that, so don't get any ideas. Shane, as someone that you do YouTube pretty much as a job, is that correct? You do it pretty much part-time, full-time? I forget which one it is.
I do it full-time. Yeah, I do. Like I do. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on it? When did you start doing YouTube?
I started on Twitch.
Okay.
Twitch. Okay, so Twitch TV is just Justin TV. Justin TV wanted to rebrand it and get it more popular, away from all the cam whores, right? Sluts, whatever you want to call them. And so they came up with an idea, say we'll just categorize it as video game-centric stuff, because the video game stuff was already somewhat popular on Justin TV. And so they came up with Twitch so that it's kind of like being in the room of like when you go to arcades back in the 90s, which was a really great feeling. And it was met with a lot of success, obviously. I mean, they were acquired by Amazon. And what ended up happening is, with all the success that they got, and they seen that people were donating and contributing money to the actual players for free, they decided to broaden it and make it bigger. And it essentially turned what originally was Twitch was originally set out to do, which was, this is just video gamers. It kind of went back and fell back into the gap of Justin TV again, where the people who make the most money are like cam whores, cam sluts, whatever you want to call them. And what that does is it takes away from people trying to grow their channel on Twitch. It's really difficult to grow a channel on Twitch when you're competing with, let's say, for example, a half-naked chick drawing, or a half-naked chick.
You haven't seen me naked, obviously.
Yeah, well, taking tips to change her clothes on Twitch. So I like Twitch. I wish that it was more focused how it was originally intended to be. But, it is what it is. I know YouTube started their own live streaming. Hitbox came out. And back to your point about why YouTube didn't want to really work with Twitch, the biggest reason is, for how big Twitch is, it's still a very small community compared to YouTube. It's
and
not
YouTube
even,
it's Google.
It's too big. Like, so for YouTube, the way they seen it from a business perspective, why purchase something that's only going to reach at most 5 million people at a time? Like it's when you're looking at the stats and you're comparing them to YouTube. This is the biggest reason why I left Twitch and moved to YouTube, was because the amount of people that you can reach on Twitch is like winning the lottery. It's very hard to get really popular. Whereas on YouTube, your access to so much more people. I forgot the numbers, but it was somewhere. It's a ridiculous number.
Billion, right?
Yeah, it's like a few billion people on YouTube at any given time, versus Twitch, where at the most, where they're having like the most amount of people is like 5 million is like their spike. Like that's like their biggest spike. Whereas and then to top it all off, the bulk of their viewers is mostly focused on one game, which is League of Legends. So it's not like they're getting, I would say, it's not like they're getting this wide range of people.
That baffles me, man.
Right.
Like, it baffles me that people watch League of Legends on Twitch. I said it.
Well, that's exactly, and that's what made
So that being said, Chris, aren't we doing something with esports at some point?
Yes. But okay, fine. I'll talk about that first.
What kind of thing, Chris?
You caught me. Yes. Speaking of tournaments and esports and things that will be broadcast on Twitch, we do have the upcoming Red Solstice tournament. That is April 16th to 17th, and you can check it out on our website, OPNoobs.com. Click over to E for I, and you will find the Red Solstice Community Tournament. We're gonna have great prizes: $250 in games, like another 400 and some odd amount of money worth of elite armor and elite weapons that aren't available in any other place except for the Kickstarter for this game. So basically, you can't get them anymore except through this tournament. So yeah, go check it out. Red Solstice, opnews.com/E4I. It's awesome.
Awesome. So before we dig ourselves a deeper crevice for all of this, Fred, you said multiple times, and I swear we'll get back to this argument because it's a long-running argument.
It's a good one.
It's a real great one. Fred, you've got an announcement. You're chomping at the bit. The trailers are done, so let's get to your announcement, and then we can actually do the thing we wanted to do tonight.
Okay, well, thanks, Steven. I am very, very excited to announce the Should We Cover It DM edition. And you may wonder, what, Fred, what does DM stand for?
Fred, what does it stand for?
DM stands for the Should We Cover It Developers Monthly. And this is a little bit of a heads up, right? And I'm not going to give you like a full blowout, what are we doing here, who's going to be on the show, but every first show of the month, starting the first week of April, Steven, Fred won't even be on the show, Caitlin, and 8 developers, that's right, I said it, 8 developers will be looking at the best, the cream of the crop, trailers of every game coming out this month. Well, not every game, actually. I should say just the top games, the ones that we're most excited about. Steven will do Steven will just be Steven. Caitlin will be doing the introductions for the studio, the background on the game, all the standard stuff. And the developers, that's right, will raise their hand to comment on the game, and we're gonna do it every single month. It's gonna be the first show of the month, the Should We Cover It DM edition, 8 developers on the show every month to comment on the industry as a whole through trailers. The Should We Cover It show. Give me a round of applause. Thank you. It's brilliant.
So let me get this straight.
Yes, you're hosting.
We are gonna have. I need to understand your psychosis here. So basically, you're saying that we are going to do this crazy little cluster, which I still have to explain to people watching that have not ever seen the show before what this is all about. You're saying that we're gonna do this
with developers.
With developers.
Yeah, because we know them.
I don't know if you're a
You're gonna
genius
guess
or
Chris
if you're
Natsume
insane.
on this show.
I really want to talk to Chris Natsume, and I want to bring those guys from London.
I really want to do that too.
You and I are not on
the
the show, Chris.
Together.
We don't have the space. It's Steven, Caitlin, and 8 developers.
Oh, but here's the thing: we will totally make room. We are totally gonna make room for Kellogg. You've got your own.
No. We'll be in chat. Yulia, everybody's gonna be there.
Are you sure, Fred? Are you sure you don't want to be on the show when Yulia's there?
No,
No,
Yulia, I'll hear about you, Steven.
Alrighty. So anyway, that's gonna be awesome, guys. If you're watching, if you're listening, keep an eye on that. I am looking forward to doing that. It's awesome. Thanks for springing that on us, Fred. You son of a. Anyway,
Giveaways.
He's a little.
Giveaways.
we got giveaways already. Yeah.
Giveaways.
Pues ¿qué te pasa?
Giveaway.
Por
Pues el
supuesto,
giveaway.
tenemos el Alucardo.
So what are we giving away? We don't know. Let's go for it.
And
Do the
another
giveaway.
shitty game.
It's so random, we don't even know what it is.
That is actually a very valid point. The truth of the matter is, when we give stuff away on this show, we give it away to everybody that's available in the chat. Everybody is a possible winner. We have no idea what it's going to be until we give it away. So it's totally random. Completely
Good run.
It is.
Also, posterity. Definitely rigged.
So
Yeah, I never got my game.
fixed. Of course, we say that and watch them all go to Fred.
I didn't get the key last
I
time.
think
Okay.
Alucard's just stashing them under his pillow. He's got lists of keys.
He's collecting them like nuts, I swear.
Yeah, he's just burying them in different parts of his house. Malarty, wow!
No, not you,
Oh,
Fred.
Marty.
AJ.
He's my favorite.
He like
I would have
wins
laughed
all-
if Nightbot got it, by the by, because
Right.
he's in the rotation.
I actually want Nightbot to win one of these days.
Yeah.
Anybody remember the Cheryl bot that we had? I miss Cheryl.
I don't know, Miss
Is that
Cheryl.
Cuntbot?
Chris, you
Cheryl
remember
bot.
Cheryl, right?
Oh yeah, you did. Well, I thought it was
Cuntbot.
Cuntbot, right? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It used to serve as drinks and shit.
It did. It did.
Drinks.
Of course, every once in a while we'd have to
Will
pull
it
the
get me
frosting
more
out of
sweet
the
tea
corner.
vodka?
That's true.
Pues Alucardo, hay mucha gente que quiere saber
Replaced it
lo
with
que,
tequila.
lo que se fue.
Lo que se fue fue el Devil Dagger.
El Devil Dagger! And yeah, I can actually thank the developers themselves, who just today sent us 3 game keys for Devil Daggers. So you should be very happy about that.
Very nice, very nice. So, that being said, now that we've gotten all that fun stuff out of the way, I apologize, folks, but now, unfortunately, we got to get to the reason that we're all gathered here. You're probably wondering what the title's all about. Should we cover it? Look, there are a lot of good games on Steam. There's a lot of crappy games on Steam. What we do is we, the masochistic few, decide to grab a whole bunch of trailers off Steam, and we go through the games, and we look at each one, and we decide, is this worth anybody's time? Is it worth our time? Do we want to review it? Do we want to talk about it? Should we just send it down a toilet and flush? We're basically going to have a lot of discussions, and a lot of liquor is going to be imbibed tonight. But this is our time to just let loose, have fun. Fred's going to piss off whomever he pisses off by talking.
And may I state that
Everybody.
the views Fred expresses do not represent the views of the company?
On the rare occasions where I will agree with Fred, that is also true. Yeah, the views that
heroes.
Fred expresses, except for the views that Chris has about Nintendo, those
No, it's unfair. It's
totally
unfair.
are
It's my absolutely favorite show of the week. It's the moment I wait for every single week. And lately, I feel like I can't actually be myself and express
No,
views that are
Fred, you-
completely unfounded and outrageously unjustified. It's just because we're becoming corporate.
No, Fred, we're not becoming corporate. We are becoming
The only person
corporate.
you have to blame
You-
is yourself.
You got your own pirate station that you're building,
true.
aren't you?
Yes.
You
Yes.
should plug that,
I
shouldn't
am.
you, Fred?
Yes, introducing OPN Essentials, the new podcast about early access with Fred only. It's not live, it's only on iTunes, so I recommend you sign up to iTunes and check it out. Our very first interviews with the Solace Project, a brand new early access that came out last week, and I'm actually quite excited about. I played it, and it's my very first survival game. I've never played survival before. As a PC gamer, I feel like this is something I should be ashamed about. And I gotta say, I love it. I love survival as a genre, and it's making. I've told Chris this before. I've had this eagerness to go back into time and get into Ark pretty heftily.
Ark's
I have not.
We still get to play together. We should play.
Yeah, because of
Ark is
honestly,
awesome.
2016 has been freaking PC gaming amazing. I think we can say it. Yes, are you kidding me? January, Rise of the Tomb Raider. February, XCOM 2.
The release of Street Fighter V missing all of its important features and functions.
Yeah, but I also hear a lot of good things about that game, so I don't know if you're being fair.
I'm honestly not, but that is the kind of thing that should be talked about on your
It
own
is.
pirate radio show, isn't
Yes, not on tonight. So
But
shut up
that-
now.
it? That being said, Fred, you have every right to talk, but please remember that some of these people actually do want to respond to our calls. So, with that in mind, we are finally going to get to the video of the trailers. So I
Yeah.
think we should probably start that. So Stylo, if it hasn't been running already, my apologies, sir. We should probably start with the first game. What is the first game on the list? Eli. If you got the list up.
I thought that it was going to be Chris or Paris reading the description.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
so-
it actually is Chris. Chris. Are you
Did you-
with us,
did you-
Chris?
All right, well, hold on. Shane,
Do you want-
Shane was assigned to read the description. I'm
Shane.
gonna do the developer description.
My God. Shane,
Okay.
you're going to read
Good job,
the
host.
description. Chris,
Do you
you're
want me to
gonna
go ahead and
read
start
that.
then?
Please do.
All right. A roguelite river journey through the backwaters of forgotten post-societal America. Forge, craft, evade predators,
From the art director of BioShock and a team of veterans with the BioShock, Halo, Guitar Hero, and Rock Band series comes The Flame in the Flood. Travel by foot and by raft down a procedurally generated river as you scrounge for resources, craft tools, remedy afflictions, evade the vicious wildlife, and most importantly, stay ahead of the coming rains.
Okay, Chris, what do we know about these guys?
Well, so they say that they're a company of AAA refugees with veterans of places like Irrational, Harmonix, and Bungie, which are definitely all very popular names. Harmonix did Guitar Hero. Everyone knows who Bungie is. Irrational as well. And it said that we've contributed to massive critical and commercial successes such as the BioShock series, Rock Band, Guitar Hero, and the Halo series, which are games some of you may have heard of before. And that's what we have.
So this is basically like Don't Starve, but in 3D. Me, I'm loving the art style, but I'm going to open the floor to whomever might want to speak first. Fred, you got your hand up. Go.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say a couple of things about this one actually, because first I think it looks beautiful, graphically very appealing, very much like Fire, the game that we just reviewed. It feels a lot like
Firewatch.
Yeah, Firewatch. Like it's got that feel where it's very trendy, very indie but trendy. Like well done, executed. Also, obviously, BioShock. The moment you pull anyone out of that team coming together to make their own indie game, that's definitely got appeal, definitely exciting. But I will say there is a side of me that wants to criticize the game for the fact that the music for the trailer does not match the actual trailer. They're trying to bring emotions that are really not conveyed.
Happy, isn't it? Yeah.
They're trying to bring emotions out of the person watching that really don't. They're not well synced with the images. It's not. We see her going through the river. We see her going through the game itself, I'm supposing, and they're trying to bring. And movies make that. The moment I see that in the movie scene, I immediately shy away from it. I'm thinking, you're essentially tricking me into watching this movie by saying it's going to be an emotional experience. But if you put a song on top of a trailer that brings out the emotion of sorrow, of sadness, of what's it called, nostalgia, then you gotta have images that reflect that. And I'm sorry to say, but that the trailer does not.
So do you think that juxtaposition was kind of done ironically? Anybody want to mention about the sound design? It is kind of an interesting mix.
I don't know. I don't like the music they went with. I wish that they would have went with more of an instrumental video to it. I think anytime you start putting like a lot of lyrics into a video, the first thing you do is start judging the music instead of like watching the actual game. So I think that's where they kind of missed the ball on that one.
Okay. Any other thoughts on this game before we move forward? Anybody? Going once? Going twice?
Giveaway!
We go to the giveaway.
Why not?
Go on,
Get us
Alucard.
bang
Big
up.
guys. Instead of that, it's just giveaway.
We just love you people so much. We just want to give you everything. Everything that we have. What are we giving away? Just don't give it to OPNoobs online. That jerk.
You asshole. It's game key.
Right.
Are we gonna give away a game away every time a trailer ends? Because that was the first trailer.
That's
It
cool.
was. We've been on for a little while.
I think it's just
Essentially,
to make
I
up
do
for
want to
that.
say that Shane, you essentially agreed with me.
He did. Actually, that
I just want to say, for the record,
Alucard.
actually agreed with me. And I was critical at first, but I had to be. I'd say it was beautiful.
No, I'm
It's
totally. I feel the same way with movies. Like when I see a really good movie, I'm like, all right. And then it starts playing like a band you heard. It's like, oh, okay. Never
Yeah, you
mind.
don't want to be tricked into watching something, I guess is what I'm saying. You just
See,
want
that's-
and I
that's
feel
the
like they did. I feel like they didn't need to do that because the game looked beautiful. Like,
Right. The game looked really good. The music was distracting to me, but
yeah, exactly.
This is going to be kind of frightening, but Fred, I actually do agree with you at the same time. The music didn't fit the trailer. I do
No,
see
guys,
where they
I
were
said
going
something
with it.
smart. I think I
Yeah.
said something smart.
Another clap for Fred.
Boy. But that being said, no, it is a situation where there is artsy and then there is pretentious. And I think that
Yeah.
brings the pretentiousness turnpike. to be honest with you. But again, it remains to be seen. But yeah, we did the giveaway so early because, quite frankly, we had so many technical issues. So that's why, Fred. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. We have Portal Knights. I swear it's not made by Valve. So the next one, Stylo, if you could hit that button. And Shane, can you tell us a little bit about Portal Knights?
Sure. Portal Knights. Leave the familiar world behind as you step into the fantastic unknown with Portal Knights. Play with your friends in this action-packed crafting adventure across dozens of sandbox islands connected by ancient portals. No one can remember how long it's been since the peaceful world was torn apart by the fracture. Plummeting into darkness, is there any soul brave enough to reunite the shattered realm? Craft your adventure, forge your hero, become the ultimate Portal Knight.
It's looking kind of Minecrafty.
Yeah,
Chris, what do you got to say?
Especially since this, the way that they wrote their own description, which says the first thing to know about 505 Games is that we're not like other game publishers. We like to think that we are very different from what you likely perceive a games publisher to be. We're small. We're less than 100 people across our company, and we like it that way. Small. Anyone who wears a suit in office
do not know what indie is.
Most of us are gamers. Yes, shock horror, a games publisher where people actually play games. I know it's a strange concept, but it's true. We do actually play games here at 505. We love innovation. Games that require a different way of thinking are our favorite things. But here's a secret. It's really hard to make good games and be innovative at the same time. It's actually really hard to make games, period. But we learn something new about the process every day and are fortunate to get to work with some very creative and talented development teams around the world. I just find this, if I might say so, to be the biggest pile of crap I've ever heard in my life for a game that
Yes, but this looks awesome.
Wait. I need to say something other than Stylo at the end of the trailer pause. The views I am about to express have no bearing on OPNoobs as a whole, as a company. I am saying this entirely as my own. This is the biggest pile of bullshit I have ever heard in my life. This is Minecraft mixed with Lego.
Oh yeah.
Which was Minecraft to begin with. And that description, for God's sake, we've talked to developers that were one guy in a leaky apartment.
Make games more complex and interesting than this.
Yes. I'm sorry, but this is Fred. This is exactly what you said. I don't.
I hate that I have to raise my hand. I'm raising my hand.
But that being said, it does look like a nice game. But let's start with. Oh God, who do I want to start with? Let's start with Sylogist.
So
Go.
I have a personal bone to pick with this because this looks like crafting games, like building games. Those are my thing. I love the shit out of Minecraft.
That's
I love all the mods for it. Space Engineers alone, I have I think like 300 odd hours in, and I'm still playing that one. So. Just seeing them come out and say, because there are so many of these dumb things that come out these days.
Yes.
And just go on like they're God's gift to gaming, and original content is, I feel honestly like it's a little bit of a slap in the face as a gamer on one respect. Like they don't think that we're intelligent enough to realize that it's a clone like through and through. But on another respect, it's like, yeah, you took it and you prettied it up, but what are you really bringing to the table that's new in any meaningful way?
I'm totally calling on anybody else other than Fred right now because I want to see an aneurysm. Let's go to Paris. Chris, you had something to say?
I'll give my mic over to Eli.
Okay, Eli. Let's Paris first, then Eli. This is gonna be fun. Go Paris.
All right.
As the editor-in-chief, your thoughts.
Okay. Well, editor-in-chief, just the text of that description was pissing me off so much. Like all of that, like I could swear like none of that they've written was in any way true. Like I think they might even be exaggerating the amount of people in there. You know what? I'm getting into this. Might be slander or something. I'm just getting away from that. Anyway,
slander.
Everyone, every developer, stop turning Minecraft into a new RPG maker. I can't have this anymore. I can't keep seeing Minecraft everywhere I turn. Where in the indie game section, there's literally just half the games there are just, oh, hey, look, it has blocky textures. Oh, look, ours is squishy blocks. Oh, hey, look, ours is shiny blocks. Stop.
Ours are made of jelly beans.
Actually, I think Squishy Block needs to be my They Might Be Giants cover band.
Yeah, okay. The game, you know what? Okay, they put some effort into it. It looks fine. Like, it isn't like the usual weekly bundle of Minecraft users that just look exactly like Minecraft. Actually, like, it looks like, oh, hey, you have a Minecraft skin and Minecraft coding in addition to being Minecraft. But
I can feel your pain from here. Eli, what's your opinion? Do you need to drink more before you speak?
No, I'm good.
Right.
Again, I was planning on being in the audience.
And then I totally want to hear Fred's opinion, then Shane, then we'll move on. But go, Eli.
But I largely I agree with Paris on this. This is like seriously, you're making Minecraft. Like, how much differentiation do you really think that has, making Minecraft just prettier? But at the same time, also, that description, like, what world are they living in? Shock, horror, a game developer that plays games. They all play games. Any game designer plays games. That's why they got into game design.
Yeah.
Why else would they be doing that?
I totally got to agree.
They're forced to make games.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. It's one of those things where it's almost. Did you not understand who your constituency is? Fred, you look like you're bringing in a jet, sir.
I hate those
Do you
new
have something
dynamics.
to say?
I just hate those new dynamics. You guys are wrong on so many levels.
Let's hear it.
All right.
Oh,
Fred,
are you
you're
guys
wrong.
are you guys just completely off the wall here? Like, it's as a whole, as a group, you guys are just wrong, like blatantly wrong. It's one thing to hire the wrong person when it comes to PR. And boy, do I agree with everybody on the Skype call. This is the worst PR we've seen in maybe years. To actually come out and say, oh, we are just a small indie studio with 100 people. It's fucking outrageous, pardon my French. It's the worst PR. Now, having said this,
it's like a Frenchman that doesn't like wine and cheese.
It's not because it looks like Minecraft that it is Minecraft. And if I've got anything to say about this game, is that I want to play it. I feel like
Minecraft, because it's a shinier
I've
version.
never even liked Minecraft. This
why
does
it appeal to you?
This is a very exciting game. The trailer is everything you expect out of a trailer. The way it's put together, the way it shows you we were just talking about the first trailer trying to dupe you. I feel like this trailer actually is the exact opposite. They're not duping you. They're actually okay, the PR voice is awful, but as far as the visuals go, you're really getting a full sense of the experience that you're about to get in when you purchase the game. And I feel like that's actually honest selling, and I feel like that the game has a lot to sell outside of just putting blocks together and killing sheep like the Minecraft game does. This is actually something that takes the game. No, I disagree with you, Paris. I don't feel like it's taking a recipe and making money off of it with more people in a studio. I feel like you're vulgarizing what they've done to a great extent. Like, this is a game that looks well produced, and I would like to try it. I think we should review this big time.
So here is the interesting thing about this show. When we say should we cover it, it flat out means the trailer. We look at the trailer. How's it look? Now, to anybody else with two brain cells to rub together, this looks like a pretty shameless clone. But we've had good games that were shameless.
It's not, Phil. It's not a shameless clone.
Oceanhorn. That's all I'm gonna say. But that being said, Fred does bring up a pretty valid point. The production of the trailer, good quality, certainly better than most of the other trailers that we've seen before. I think the PR guy should be fired and then drawn and quartered and then hung out to dry. But beyond that, we're going to have one more opinion, then we'll move forward. But Fred's got a point. Judging by the trailer, which is how we got to do it. We're shallow people. We got to go by that. Shane.
So just taking a look at the game. I don't really play Minecraft or anything like that. However, just judging by the game, the fact that it has like an extensive co-op platform there where you're fighting bosses, I've always loved fighting bosses ever since I was a kid. And the thing that to me Minecraft lacks is action. I don't really care what anyone says. There's really no action in Minecraft. So the fact that I seen like a lot of cool different things jumping around and like different boss fights, and not to mention how well polished the game looked just like out of the trailer.
Shane,
to be honest with you, I'm excited about the
man.
game. I'm excited about the game. I don't play Minecraft games as like last week. I want action. I want hot alien chicks. But that right there, I can be Gandalf. I can be Ninja.
I'm so happy that there's another intelligent person joining the show.
It's just
yeah, it's a shame that Fred's here too.
Thank you, Fred.
But I don't know. I'm excited. And as far as
he
the
just called me an idiot.
The dev interview thing or whatever their description, I just think it's just them being stupid. I don't really take it serious. I think
that's totally fair.
I think it's just
a little bit shocking though. Like we have to kind of agree with everybody else on this show, to be polite. We have to agree with them that the PR was just awful. But you and I like speak the same voice. This is a game that's
before the martyrs decide to keep breaking their wrists for patting themselves on the back, Selegius, get to you. Selegius, we'll get to you, and then we gotta move forward, guys.
All right.
Go.
So I've said it before in emails, and I'll say it again here. I think
we
really should.
Cole just calms everybody down.
I think we really should cover everything that we see like this, even if it does look like a shameless clone, because I approach it from the position of this looks like something I think a lot of people are going to be interested in. And they're going to see it and they're like, this looks like Minecraft, but prettier. And if they're not really big into Minecraft, because that's the thing that I think turns a lot of people off of Minecraft, is that it's kind of got the graphics, you know?
Graphics and whatnot, yeah.
You know, so seeing this, I think a lot of people would be turned on to that. Now, me personally, I come from a place where I love Minecraft. I love all those crafting games. So I see the glut of them and it drives me up the wall.
And you may be overly sensitive because you like Minecraft.
I'll admit that. I'm not 100% partial by any means. But I think this definitely deserves to be covered. And more than that, I also think looking at it, PR, maybe a misstep. But I think looking at it again, you know, looking at the trailer again, I would be open to being surprised by this game. Maybe there is something new that would make me, you know, give it a one-up on just being a clone.
Well, you know, that's the thing is we all say that we want something new and exciting and interesting, and then when something new and exciting and interesting comes out, we support it by not buying it, apparently. And then the gaming industry goes, well, let's give them more of the same stuff. So the question that could probably be asked is, did we deserve this kind of thing? Do we deserve the Hollywood sequel?
And if anything, when the guys behind Portal Knights are gonna look at the Should We Coverage show on YouTube and see the fit that we had, and like just I'm sure they're gonna love it.
But you know,
except the PR guy.
That's the thing. You almost have to wonder if that is part of the meta joke. And that's something that we're going to have to find out, because I'm sure we're going to cover it again. I'm sure if it brought up that much in the way of a disagreement or discussion, we're probably going to be hearing from it again. But it is also in Steam Early Access, so if you want to find out more about it, go follow it on their page. We're going to move forward, and we're going to talk about the artful escape of Francis Vendetti. Stylo, if you please, with the trailer. And tell us a little bit about the game, Shane.
The Artful Escape of Francis Vendetti is an action-adventure, exploration, narrative-driven, musical, laser light battle kind of platformer. It's about dead folk singers, lingering shadows, naked space gods, hallucinogens, reptile shops, wild imagination, beautiful strangers, the philosophy of mask, and the artistic liberation of becoming someone else entirely. Think David Bowie traveling across the universe to create Ziggy Stardust.
Wow, that sounds awesome.
Wow. Chris, can you follow that?
I'm going to do my best here. The description here is basically of the people that worked at this in this game studio, which is Beethoven and Dinosaur is the name of the development studio. And it says the first name here is apparently Johnny Galvatron, which sounds made up. It says Johnny studied game development at university, but signed to Warner Brothers Music a week after he graduated. Johnny had commercial hits in Australia, toured the world, played shows with The Police, Kiss, Tame Impala, supported Def Leppard and Cheap Trick on their Pacific tour, appeared on TV game shows, got his mug in Rolling Stone. Generally caused lots of trouble. Josh Abrams. Josh is an incredible and accomplished musician who worked closely with Baz Luhrmann on Moulin Rouge. He's also worked with Ang Lee and several Australian directors. And the last two guys are Justin Blackwell and Sean Slevin, which are their ones and zeros. Both have been professional programmers for 6 years, working on everything from games to pharmaceutical programming to educational software. Both currently work teaching programming / game development. They currently work teaching programming and game development to kids with Asperger's syndrome and high-functioning autism. I don't even know what to make of any of this right now.
That is the biggest bouillabaisse of crazy I've ever heard in my life. However,
some of it's crazy enough to sound true.
Even if all of it was absolute bull, the very fact I'm an unabashed Bowie fanboy, even before his passing, his untimely passing, big musician, I am sold on this every which way. I am also a pretentious git.
What about the Def Leppard part?
So speaking of, I don't care about Def Leppard, but as the next most pretentious git on staff, Fred, what's your opinion?
Look, guys, I hate to say it, but this is another one of those case scenarios where I look at the trailer and I think, wow, tremendous talent. I mean, obviously, tremendous talent, but maybe video gaming was not the proper channel for them. It's the type of game where I see a lot of, this is great. This is everything that Hollywood did not let them do. And now they're getting into the gaming scene to express themselves freely. Unfortunately, gamers care a lot more about gameplay than they care about the artists behind the games.
Not necessarily. Remember, we did give away our RPG of the Year title to Undertale, so you could theoretically say that as much, and you and I
but you see my point.
Irritated by that, aren't we?
You see, I still see I feel like you're right, but at the end of the day, I feel like there's a lot of games today that come out and they feel like the expression of an artist's frustration working in Hollywood.
Eli, thoughts?
Yeah. Okay, so based on the trailer, obviously it does look like it's of a decent quality, but it seems like the people that were making it were so focused on the idea that they have this experience, that they know what they're doing, that they felt like they could come up with a particular vision that was of a particular quality for everybody else to see. And honestly, I kind of get the impression that a lot of that is pretension. I don't think it necessarily is going to be as great as they think it is.
Fun.
It looks like good quality overall. Like, it looks like the stuff that they did in it is good production, but it's just like it. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a good game. Creativity is much more important than pedigree when it comes to games.
And if I can interrupt, you've got a guy, because I like to acknowledge chat somehow, because I feel like it's relevant to the conversation we're having. Mac the Knife 26 is saying, I'm sold on this by the art style of this. And I feel like Eli, and that's kind of, in a way it goes against what you and I are saying.
Well, Fred, to be fair, no matter what, we are just basing it off the trailer, so art style is kind of all we've got. And I know that gameplay...
I disagree, because
you can disagree all you want, but I got to get to the other people, Fred.
Yeah, but trailers are supposed to tell you a lot about gameplay as well.
Not all trailers. I regret that we might make a hashtag out of this, but not all trailers will generally give us all that up front. I mean, look at any of the major AAA trailers. How many of them have actual gameplay in it instead of pre-rendered cutscenes? Chris?
So when I look at a game like this, it's funny because I can see so many sides of what people are saying here. Like, you kind of look at it and you're like, oh, this could just be like a really bad side scroll. Like what Fred said, these guys are like trying to express all these different art forms and they're just kind of using the wrong medium. But sometimes you also get these games that are kind of like, they're more about the experience. And I know like we've got this weird trend where you have these like games on rails in 3D where you basically don't do anything.
Storybooks, basically, where you're more or less watching it. Yeah.
But I think that type of gameplay lends itself so much better to this type of game where it's like more like a storybook. I feel like I'm reading a children's book, right? And so basically, it all comes down to the narrative. If the story's interesting and it's like kind of thought-provoking, the visuals and the thought-provoking nature of it will build to be a great experience.
Yeah, but do you
if you want to call it a video game or not, I don't know. It's kind of an interactive story, but like if you're gonna sell it for $5 or $10 and people are enjoying it,
yeah. But if your interest are the cutscenes, then your interest is in a movie.
But you don't really. I see. That's the thing.
Tell that to Hideo Kojima
whether or not you're like intervening with a lot of what we were seeing, or if it was just kind of happening in front of you. So that really, it's hard to tell from the trailer.
Understandable. Shane, your thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to say the second they said that they had like naked space gods, I was kind of sold on that immediately. Right? I mean, what more could you want? But in the sense of, I think Fred brought up a good point. I never ever thought of it that way. It's that all the things Hollywood wouldn't let them do. Now, I'm not saying that just doesn't make them not a video game. I do think that it is a video game, but it's probably one of those games that you would probably enjoy it once, and then after that, it's kind of like lost its luster. So maybe if it was cheaper, it'd be great for like a cheap price. I don't know, but for somebody who's really into like music. And for example, like David Bowie or Labyrinth, I think that kind of plays to them more than it would than somebody who like plays Call of Duty or something. I think that's what we're experiencing.
That's pretty fair. And the truth of the matter is, like all the other trailers that we see at the beginning of this show, they are all either on Steam Greenlight, Early Access, or Kickstarter. So right now, it doesn't look like there's a lot of information about that as to what they're actually going to sell it for. They are saying that they are the winners of the Unreal Dev Grant, which was $17,000, which were, as they say, going to be used for pure evil. So this might be the pure evil. We don't know. So we won't really know until either A, the Kickstarter is over, or B, they actually come out and say, it claims it's going to be an action-adventure platformer, but at the same time, we're not getting a solid feel of what the actual gameplay is going to be like. So as beautiful as it is, it might just be a fancy old storybook.
I disagree with you. We got a very good feel of what the action is going to be like, and it is not appealing.
We don't know if that's actual in-game gameplay or if that's just the pre-story and post-story cutscenes. Paris, your thoughts, and then we have to move forward.
Actually, I think we saw a significant amount of gameplay. It's just kind of hard to differentiate it because there are those moments where you saw him like leaping from platform to platform in that stone pillar section.
But that could also be part. That could also be part of maybe in-game cutscenes. We've seen games that do that with the character's avatar too.
Fair point. But yeah, if that is the case though, and that like I'm a story game nut, but like the pitfall of story games is that if they lean too heavily, they do become, as we've said, a movie. They don't engage the player anymore. And no matter how good of a story you have, like if you're playing an RPG and you're suddenly bombarded with 29 million like text boxes, you're not gonna have a good time. You're just gonna
man, you've got to appeal to our Zelda selves.
Yeah. So they still, like everything in moderation. That still applies to story games. That still applies to this game. It has to balance out the gameplay. It has engaging gameplay along with the story, along with the artistry and all the beauty and everything. And also, like if that is in-game footage with the color spotlights and such, I really hope that's not going to be like some sort of quick time sort of gameplay, because I would that's just basically pushing buttons to get to the next page of the story, and I would not approve of that.
Who wants to bet that this is going to end up being like a DDR style rhythm game?
I mean, I tell you something that if we do review it,
we just had no idea.
If we do review that, I hope somebody very intelligent picks up the review and somebody like kind of answered those questions we've had, because at the end of the day, these are nothing but questions. These are trailers. So
this is entirely true. So yeah, fine. You look like you've been interested. So go ahead, do it quick, and then we'll get on to the actual meat of the program. Since this one has been so divisive so far, we're not even on the fourth one.
I know, right?
Jeez. All right.
I think honestly that this is one of those ones. This is one of those games where it really kind of forces us to examine the boundary of what it really means to call a thing a game, or a video game in particular.
We're seeing a lot more of that lately, aren't we?
Yeah, as game making kind of opens
Fred's
up to a
losing his
broader
mind.
market, I think
Keep
it's
going.
inevitable.
I just love how like Colt
but-
says everything I think just way better.
I think in the end, it's definitely going to be one of those things where just looking at this, whether this is gameplay or whether this is just in-game cinematics, just looking at this is, I think, for this particular one, is just, there's no way it could ever be enough. There's a lot of games that are coming out now that are like that, where you get a trailer, you get, a number of trailers, and you still have no idea really going in what it is, because the experience is so much a part of it.
Well, to me, the only thing that I can say is that it looks super pretentious. The developer description was kind of awesome. Whether or not it's actually true, and I challenge anyone in the chat or even on this call to take a look and see if they are legitimate. I would like to know if there really is a guy that goes around with the last name of Galvatron.
I was going to say the same thing. Johnny Galvatron.
I really doubt it. That's got to be a stage name, unless he's like a G Transformer. But beyond that,
the world and
the guy who goes by Steven Staniszewski.
Hey, I found another Staniszewski who's a game developer in Poland and not related. So that name is still really a name. So that being said, we're gonna move on from all this. If you're really interested in any of them, if you're interested in them, go check them out on Steam Greenlight. But let's give away the next game. Go. Go.
Es el Alucardo, es el hijo de su madre que te va a dar los juegos.
The guy with no last name.
No tiene nombre, no tiene apellido. No tiene cara. Las mujeres lo aman.
Hopefully it doesn't go back to him.
Yeah, do we have to do a giveaway every 6 minutes, Alucard? Especially since
apologize to these
I just want to say that since Steven became the host of this show, we are only 7 minutes out of 40 minutes of trailers.
We were too busy talking about how terrible. Nice. Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Well, we've got to.
I feel like I have a couple games to give out myself today. I'm giving out Book of Unwritten Tales 2 and Penarium at the end.
Well, Mac the Knife's got a really good point. Plot twist: the game is made by Transformers. It better be Decepticons.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
All right. Can we move on?
All right. Yes, I guess we can move on, Fred, if we can stop talking. So, the next game.
Who was the winner just now?
That would be the fellow with 25. Clowny.
Congrats, Clowny.
You got stuff. All right, the next trailer on the list, Obliteracers. Great name. Let's move on with the trailer. Let's move on with the description.
Awesome.
Go. Shane?
Award-winning same-screen party racing for up to 16 players. Race brutal cute aliens on exotic planets using weapon power-ups and physics-based vehicles to annihilate your competition in frantic round-based combat. Connect spare gamepads, laptops, and smart devices as extra controllers.
What? Chris, what is this?
This is by Space Dust Studios Limited, which is an independent game studio developer located in Melbourne, Australia, trading internationally as Varkian Empire. I don't even know where people get this shit from. Our team of veteran developers have contributed to franchises such as Battlefield, Need for Speed, Tomb Raider, Dead Space, Burnout, and Silent Hill. Man, that's a nice list.
That's a heck of a pedigree. I was hoping you were going to say Battletoads, because that'd be awesome.
Yeah, is that out yet? Can we reserve that?
What, Battletoads? I don't think it's out yet.
I thought that was. I should call GameStop right now.
Yeah, you really should. I think they'd appreciate that. But we're basically looking at a kart game. I mean, when I heard Obliteracers, first thing I was thinking of was Uniracers. That old.
You're wrong on so many levels.
Yes, I love
You're wrong on so many levels.
Wait, we're wrong about it looking like a kart game?
Yeah, this is not a kart game.
Then what
a
is
kart
it?
game.
Yeah,
it's a racing game, Fred.
It's not a kart game or whatever you Americans call it. It's not a kart game.
The Japanese invented those.
What is it, Fred?
What?
Okay, thank you. So this, I'm
Games
acknowledging
like
that's you telling me I have the right to speak.
Yes, you do. Go.
Okay, I forget the name of the game, but when I was a kid, I used to
Yeah.
play. Maybe some of you guys played this too, but when I was a kid, I used to play this game. I think on PlayStation, and it was those. It was way before Mario Kart, man. It was even before the first Mario Kart. It was,
Mario Kart was on
that's
original
Super Nintendo.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
Long before PlayStation.
dude, it was before Mario Kart, or it was just in time. But this is not
Oh.
inspired by
Yeah.
Mario Kart. I
No,
tell
no,
you
no.
that
We're
much.
not saying we're not saying it's inspired by Mario Kart, Fred.
Well,
We're saying
it's-
it's a racing game. It's a kart racer. Kart
I'll keep
as
it
in
short
go-kart.
because we have to move. My stake.
Yes, we do. Go.
My take on this trailer is part of me wants to say this looks like the modernization of a game. I forget the name. Jeez, I wish I would remember of a game.
Wipeout?
No,
thinking
no,
that?
no, 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 no. It's a game with lots of little cars, always on.
It's not called Extreme G, is it?
No, it was always on maps. Like you could be on a pool table, you could be on a.
Micro
and-
Machine?
Oh,
I know, it was
I know what
Micro
you're talking
Machine.
about.
It
Yeah,
was-
yeah, yeah, I know
I
you're
was
talking
a
about. You
little
feel like,
kid.
you feel
Yeah,
like,
And
it's
me and
Micro
my
Machine.
friends, we played.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Micro Machines actually.
yeah, I remember that
Like
game.
we used, that is what it is. It's not card game. It's
don't
not
think-
card
I don't
game. It's
think-
Micro Machines inspired. This guy used to play. I guarantee you, if we get him on Twitch to interview, I'll tell you when they were kids,
You'll be like,
they
yeah,
were
this is
playing
just-
Micro Machines with their friends, and they said that's going to be our next game. And so that is why I'm so excited about this game. The problem is I'm 33 years old and I don't have friends to play on the couch with again. So
There's no harm with that.
but that's awesome. Like
yeah.
hats off. And by the way, can I say that every single trailer we've seen so far this week is impressive in its own way. Like
So
this is-
far, the
yeah.
production is a lot better than what we're used to seeing. Shane, Chris, then we gotta move.
All right. Well, I guess for me, if you don't have a Nintendo, this game is perfect for you. If you have a Nintendo, I'm gonna say get a Mario Kart. It's Mario Kart with a strap on, pretty much, right? So,
Wow.
That's
gonna be on the box.
it's
if there is
it's
one.
good. It's good. No, it's good
hope
for
they
what
put
it
that.
is,
I
right?
hope
So
they
for
put that
for
on Steam.
PC, so it's good for
It's
PC. If you don't have it if you don't have a Nintendo and you want to play on PC, I think this game is perfect for people like that. So the game looks good, but if you have like a Wii, I'm gonna stick with Mario Kart for
Yeah,
now. That's kind of how I feel.
I almost want to see Mario Kart with a strap on. Chris,
Actually, I feel like that's harsh.
Well,
with a strap on? It probably is.
I feel like it's weird. It's funny
Strap-on
to
would
me
be
that
pretty
like
harsh of a
PC
weapon.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing is it's a racing game that has cute characters and small cars that involve items. So that basically screams Mario Kart. But the only thing that I think that I see that's a little bit different is you've got like cooler tracks that like are going a little more in different directions. You got the sci-fi theme. So maybe you've got a little bit of like more challenge involved, like a Trackmania, F-Zero kind of thing.
That's Mario Kart and Nintendo do not have monopoly on
Well,
racing between friends. That's what
regard-
essentially that's what you guys are saying.
That's
This is
not true.
No, it's also it's what you guys are saying is BS. I'm sorry to say, but essentially you guys are saying that the moment
he hates anything Nintendo,
the moment
'cause
the game is finished and the moment it's supposed to be a great co-op game, competitive, and it's Mario Kart.
Well,
That's
no,
BS.
it's not necessarily the
It's-
case. The reason I brought up the Mario Kart comparison is simply because it is go-karts have been around longer than Mario Kart. So when I see a game where it doesn't look like cars, that's going to be the reference. It's either going to be F-Zero or some kind of a Wipeout clone or
It's not
something
to
like
get
that.
the cool little functionality they had too.
Exactly. But that
Mario
being said,
Kart, no fun.
we got to move on. Fred hates Nintendo. You heard it here first. We're going to move on to the next trailer. ChaosTower, which sounds a lot like Clock Tower. ChaosTower. Shane, what is this about?
ChaosTower is a physics-based action puzzler. Build a tower from a whole bunch of different parts and prove it against several natural forces like earthquakes, wind, and meteors. Defend your tower against artificial enemies like robots, tanks, bomb birds, and many more. Improve your turret defense by a set of automatic cannons with different abilities, machine gun turrets, cannons, or gravity guns, or directly control a configurable robot drone.
Okay, Chris?
So the developer is CashcowGames. Fortunately, we don't have a description for them. I am sorry to say, but I think the name says a lot about this developer, especially considering that they made a tower defense game.
Yeah, I gotta admit, we do have some pretty good tower defense games floating around out there. We actually just did an
It's been done
interview
before.
with a
Just
tower
gonna
defense
put that
game.
out.
This is true. We actually did an interview recently with a tower defense game called Fortified. which was kind of awesome.
You classify
check it
that
out
as tower
on
defense?
OPNoobs. What's that?
It was more of a third-person.
You classify that as tower defense?
Fortified? Well, the developer called it a tower defense game, so I
It's a
kind of
tower
have to
defense
believe
game.
him.
It's just
Yeah.
It's in a third-person, like more actiony perspective than your typical
Yeah.
RTS tower defense.
Yeah, he basically took the standard tower defense game that you would find on mobile, and he made it a third-person action shooter type thing, or at least that's how he described it. Oh, Fred, you're back. Your camera was a little loopy there for a second. Paris, thoughts?
Yeah, this reminds me a lot of those tower destruction games like Angry Birds style. Although of course Angry Birds wasn't the first, but in this case you are on the receiving end of all that terribleness, which is it's interesting and it looks solid enough. Yeah, I'm good with this.
I don't know.
I knew Paris would. I knew you would endorse this. I'm starting to know you.
I don't know. Giving it the Angry Birds seal of approval is kind of a kiss of death.
It's literally the inverse of Angry Birds. You are doing the opposite of what you're doing in Angry Birds. So maybe that will work out for them. Maybe they'll get success the other way.
We will find out. I know when I was growing up,
houses with pigs?
Tonka trucks and cranes were awesome, so we'll see how it goes, but we do got to move on because we've got two really big games on this list that are going to be polarizing as hell. So let's move on to One Upon Light. One Upon Light, Shane, what about this game?
For progress, for humanity, for science, responsible for many of mankind's greatest achievements, science has done many wonderful things, but experiments to harness the power of shadow. If it sounds dangerous, that's probably because it is. Especially if something goes wrong and harmless, light becomes the deadliest thing imaginable. Set in a world where the rules of light and shadow no longer apply, One Upon Light sees you exploring the ruined remains of the Aurora Science Labs in search of answers. What happened here? Who are you? And most importantly, will things ever be the same again? The answers are there to find, but whatever you do, don't go into the light.
Fun. Chris, what do we know about these guys?
All right, so they are the game development team under the Singapore University of Technology and Design, SUTD Game Lab, what they're officially known as. They are known informally as Ice Cream Truck Games because we love eating ice cream and making games. See, these sound like real programmers to me. The SUTD Game Lab was formerly known as the Singapore branch of the Singapore MIT Gambit Game Lab, which created the award-winning games Carnivale Snowtime, Snap Escape, and Dark Dot, among others. The lab aims to continue the mission of Gambit by making games that bridge research and industry and push innovation in game development. These guys are fucking awesome.
So, first question, totally not related. Celagis, are you wearing Captain Picard's command top?
Absolutely.
As your hoodie? Are you?
It does look like that.
That's what I thought.
Oh, nice.
That's what it is.
Because I saw him.
I wish I had the opposite of a facepalm to give you.
You're right. Perfect. Okay, Shane first, then Fred, then we move.
Okay,
Go.
so I feel like when I see this game, it kind of puts me in this position where, like, if I don't say I like it, I immediately don't know true art or something. It reminds me of Limbo, it really does. I know it's because of that look to it. I'm not saying the game is bad. I'm not saying the game is bad. It's got a lot of neat concepts, but I don't know. I guess for me, I've kind of already seen it. I'm not saying the game is bad. The game could be fantastic, but just judging by the trailer, I kind of wish there was a little bit more to it. But that's kind of my take on it. I think it's going to be a good game, but I kind of feel like if you say it's bad, it almost puts you in this position of like, oh, you don't know what like innovation is. I don't know. That's kind of how I feel.
So what's the funny part about this is I'm going to call on the one that is supposed to be pretentious by nature. Fred, is this another game as art?
No. Actually, I want to show off how accepting I've become of games that I don't approve of. And I disagree with you about it being... I don't think they're trying to be innovative, actually. On the contrary, I feel like that's why we should move on pretty quickly to the next trailer. I think this is the type of game that is going to please everybody who's enjoyed a little bit of a puzzle so far in playing with light and shadows. And we've seen it tons of times. They're not trying to be anything above that or beyond that. They're just trying to please that niche and giving the next chapter of their adventures. I think some people are going to enjoy this. I certainly am not. That's not what I'm looking for in a game, but let's be respectful and say that it's great that these games are still coming out for people who enjoy that stuff. I guess they can play on their iPhones.
So apparently somebody's holding a gun to Fred's side for that kind of a 180. But that being
I'm
said,
accepting of stuff that I don't think it's trying to be innovative, Voshane. I don't know that I can agree with that. I think like really I look at this and I think, okay, they're trying to please people who like to play with shadow and light.
Okay, well, that being said, we're going to move on very quickly to the next game because I really want to see what the next game is going to be. Ninja Senkai DX. Shane, what is this thing?
On its 5th anniversary, Ninja Senkai leaps from the shadows onto Steam to become Ninja Senkai DX, where Princess Kuyumi, I think I'm saying that right, is slain by a demon. Hayate becomes obsessed with revenge. Casting aside the art of invisibility, the blue ninja unleashes the power of the Shurikenjutsu upon the mythological creatures, demons, and other adversaries in action-filled quests for vengeance.
Okay, Steven, I'm going to interrupt you and I'm going to ask a simple question. If somebody can research this, I'm going to shut up. Is this on mobile as well? If anybody can research this, well, we get comments.
Is what now?
Is this on cell phones as well?
I can look it up.
I'm almost certain, judging from the description, but that would be a good thing for people to find out. Anybody? Going once, going twice? Do we have any Google foo? Is it on...
It's Googling so hard.
Are you... it looks like it is.
Yeah. We should just let people know when it's on mobile moving forward.
Well, what it looks like... It looks like, because I'm looking at
it's available on PlayStation 4, PS Vita, and Steam for the first time.
So technically though, this doesn't really look like it would be good on a mobile phone to begin with. This is more or less just a copy of the retro style of Nintendo games. But I'm not saying.
Let me read the gamer. Let me read the developer. The developer, first of all, is called Tribute, which I think says a lot about who they are. And it says that they're an independent game studio located in Montreal, making entertaining games with a focus on pixel art and classic game design, sometimes with a modern twist.
But
we are tremendously passionate about our work, and our inspirations are mostly games from the 8-bit and 16-bit era. Why? Because these are the games we love and still play today. We hope you'll enjoy our games. Now, they seem like a pretty humble group.
Yeah, so Fred disappeared for a second, but the long and short, it looks like it's not actually a mobile game unless you count the Vita as mobile, which is funny because I didn't even really know that they were still making stuff for Vita, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah. Vita has a lot of stuff.
They call that handheld.
Oh, well, that's technically mobile Paris.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the name being Tribute because I look at this and I'm seeing a lot of familiar like Mega Man elements.
Mega Man.
Definitely.
The Capcom thing. He even has the same sort of jump animation with like one leg up while he's jumping.
That's right.
And you know what?
Like NES style.
Yeah. And it looks okay. Yeah, it looks nice. Not much further to add on that.
Oh, that's fair enough. Shane,
the
what you got?
could be really
good. It's it's a tribute game. You get to be a ninja, so I'm already satisfied. You play like Mega Man, which is awesome, and there's monkeys that poop on you, so I'm down for it. I'm ready to play.
I love what Shane like outlines for why he likes games. You know, it's like sexy aliens, monkeys that poop on you, and he's
that's all you really need in life, isn't it? Fred, to answer your question, technically yes and technically no. It's not on mobile. It's on the PS Vita.
Oh, you don't say mobile? Because I say mobile.
No, I don't say mobile. What are you, French?
It's mobile.
No, if I was French, I would say mobile.
Oh, well, it's not. No, because I think of that. I think of the thing that you put above a crib. But the long and short is no, it's not. This is just the first time that it's going to be on Steam, whereas it was also on the PS4 and PS Vita. So basically, no, but it is very much not your cup of tea because it looks a lot like a Nintendo game. And it's that retro style that
I'm getting. Can you explain the damn Fred laugh out loud from Grace of Light? Is it because of the vin rouge?
Sure. Eli, what you got?
What?
Eli, I cannot hear a word you're saying, sir.
I apologize about that. I just wanted to throw out there, you guys suck at pronouncing Japanese. It was Ninja Senki, and Princess Kinuhime.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm not the best
I
at
mean,
Japanese.
since-
I'm from Cuba, man. I'm not the best at it.
Oh, see, well, there
I
you
can
go.
tell.
My girlfriend is also Cuban. Oh.
Nice.
See, on this show, we bond over interesting things like
True. We're very
hooker
natural
mosquitoes. We bond over monkeys throwing poop.
No, it was hooker ants.
No, it was it was an ant in that game,
it
wasn't
wasn't-
it? Yeah, you're totally
Yeah,
right.
Hooker
Now-
ants.
That being said, nothing but the highest quality for us. That being
Monkey
said,
poop.
I think the game looks awesome, but I'm kind of a sucker for Nintendo. But we are going to move on to one of the bigger titles that we've got on this list right now from
You guys are so
Telltale.
lucky I left.
That's right, we are, and unfortunately, you came back just in time for your favorite new developer, Fred. So the next game, Walking Dead, Michonne, Episode 1, Into Deep, and I think only Meatloaf has longer titles. So tell us about this game,
What
Shane.
about Panic at the Disco?
The Walking
We don't
Dead,
talk about
Michonne,
Panic at the Disco.
a Telltale miniseries stars the iconic blade-wielding character from Robert Kirkman's best-selling comics, haunted by her past and coping with her unimaginable loss and regret. The story explores Michonne's absence between issues number 126 and 139 of the comic book.
Okay.
Chris?
It's Telltale Games. They were listed 2014's most innovative company in gaming by that all-important gaming magazine.
You watch what you
Fast
say.
Telltale was recognized by leading review aggregate site Metacritic as the #1 overall publisher for quality content in 2014.
So before we get into Fred's kissing of Telltale, does anybody watch the show and does anybody
Oh, you're
read
such
the
an
comics?
asshole.
I used to watch it.
Okay, I just want to take a.
I
watcher.
do watch the show. That's the thing. Like, I actually had an educated.
I know, and we're gonna get to you, Fred. I promise. But I wanted to see if anybody else had an opinion about the source material before we get to you. Anybody?
You mean like The Walking Dead as a series?
Just who watches the show?
That's how I
reads the
feel about
comics?
Walking Dead after 4th season.
Ah, fair enough. Fred, as somebody that watches the show, what are your thoughts?
Well, let me begin by saying that I think Walking Dead is probably one of the best shows on TV ever. It doesn't mean that every single episode has
All the
been great.
seasons?
It doesn't mean that every episode has been great. And to open a parenthesis in the parenthesis that I started in, I don't know that Michonne is really as interesting as people make her out to be.
Okay.
And I feel like that's probably my best way to approach this game and not talk about the great studio that Telltale is, because just today they've accepted us as official press.
You do love
So
Telltale.
nobody's gonna talk shit
Watch them
about
do Telltale.
Telltale.
Well,
we love Telltale. You
So
guys
here's
are
my
doing
problem
great.
with
Keep it up. but to keep the focus on the game itself, which is what I've been asked to do lately, I would say that I have my doubts and reservations about. Yes, Walking Dead is great. I don't know that Michelle is that interesting of a character.
Okay.
That's all I say. I'm done.
I kind of have to disagree with you on the Michonne
there
not
goes
being
that.
not being interesting. Let me tell you why. Because I don't watch the show anymore.
I didn't say not interesting. I
But
said
but
maybe
I think
the focus.
here's-
Go
well,
ahead.
it's because she had such a horrible past, right? I'm not trying to give any spoilers away for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, but she's had a horrible past. But she is one of the few people who's experienced so much loss, but didn't cross that line like Shane did. And so she always teeter-totters on that line. And I think it's kind of interesting to see what keeps her from walking over that line and, becoming Shane, essentially.
It's funny. It's actually funny if I can respond to that. It's funny you say that because what you've said exactly just now, Shane, is the exact reason why I feel like she's not really. She wouldn't have been had I been the creative mind behind what's the next step in our Walking Dead series at Telltale. I probably would have not picked Michonne for the very reason you just described. Is the fact like she's always been kind of the pillar, the one that is not going to fall, the one that doesn't really have. She has the horrible past, but she doesn't ever get close to breaking down. She's really like she's the bulky. She's the strength after Rick. there's Michonne. So in a way, like the other woman, the one that's like kind of more Machiavellic.
Total aside, I love the fact that we just lost 4 viewers when Fred started talking.
They come back. They always come back.
That was mean.
Total
So I don't know, Shane. No,
aside.
it's an interesting conversation, regardless of people who are stepping in and out. I feel like no, it's very interesting.
Okay, but that being said, soap operas aside, are we sick of Telltale yet? Are we tired of the same formula in and out with every game that they do? It tends to be the exact same thing with a new IP every time. Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, both of which I actually liked. And then we got Minecraft for some reason, and then Game of Thrones for some reason, and now we have Walking Dead, the
Steven
third
obviously
sequel.
doesn't have to pay for games when you don't get the keys.
I don't get the keys anyway, sir. But anyway, that being said, how long is it before Telltale has to actually do something different? Go,
Well, I mean, I don't. Well,
Captain.
Oh.
Sorry.
What was that me?
That'd be you, Cap. Yeah.
So I'm not gonna lie, with Telltale, I think when I think of their games, I don't think of each individual game as separate outside of the IP. I really think that what they've kind of done is made a platform for telling stories in a more interactive manner. What you would say that means as far as, like a gaming perspective, I'm not really sure. And in a way, I almost think it's the same game over and over again with different stories.
So what separates that from the games that we've seen and then we just railed on saying, well, if it tells a story, it's not really a game, to take it in an extreme manner? What makes Telltale different when it's legitimately nothing but
sometimes
because they do it.
Steven.
I think it's just because they do it in a kick-ass way. I think that's
Okay.
what kind of. So, I mean, I know that's kind of brand to say that, like, oh, give some description,
No,
but I mean,
fair.
at the end of the
It's
day, they do it in a kick-ass way, right? Like, you're playing their game and you look at it and you go, "Wow, that was kick-ass."
Because let's not lie, when it boils down to it, we all kind of dislike QuickTime events, right? This is and we rail on a game when it has a lot of QuickTime events. Like if the final boss of a game is a QuickTime event, I'm not gonna mention which game, but when the final boss is a QuickTime event, we've got a whole game, a whole series. This entire company is built upon QTEs. Why do they get away with it? Just like you could say with Valve, why do they get away with the stuff that we wouldn't normally let them get away with? Why are they getting away with this? Paris, as someone that has seen many reviews of these games, why?
Shane just kind of told you.
The main.
He did, but I want to hear from Paris now.
Yeah. One of the main problems with QuickTime events is that basically you're on a set course, and if you fall off, you fail. Like if you don't hit all these buttons in this exact way as they're being thrown at you, it goes over. You have to start over. You have to do that sequence again, but you'll be better at it because you just saw that sequence. So then you can repeat it. So that, it doesn't. It's basically, it means you will definitely succeed after you memorize this code that we're throwing at you. I think Telltale will probably hold this this small niche of the market very tightly until more people get into the idea of this, because the choices you make in these Telltale games and in these games in general, like Life is Strange, that you make choices and they matter, and they might not matter for the ending, which is where these games lose their interest for a lot of people if you go through all that, but you get one or two of the same endings, you lose some interest. But the point of it is that when you make choices in these games, you do affect the progression of the story. You do get nods to the choices you made. So it means that you're always changing things, that you're a player, and the actions you're doing in this game, instead of slashing swords and killing things, you're just stepping in the right way in your own choice to move the story in the way you want it to go, as if you were in the story, instead of a QuickTime event where you are trying to be this badass character who could only kill this one thing by pressing a certain set of buttons to do one action to succeed. Yeah. So so instead of being stuck on a railway, story games like this would mean that you're like one of those operators that chooses which way the rail is going, basically.
Yeah, and don't forget, Steven, that you have 20 minutes to finish the show.
I do, since we started about 30 minutes late.
Doesn't matter.
I gotta go to bed in like 10 minutes. Can we?
Wine. That being said, let's move on to the next. Let's move on to the next one then. Talk about polarizing. Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2. Let's move on to more of the same. Go on, Shane. What do we got?
Get ready to enter the danger zone with Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2. It's a crazy new world. The zombies have taken over Siberia. I think that's how you say it. And the plants are on the attack. Take it back.
Chris, do we really need to know more about the people that made this?
Well, I just like that they put in there the first line is PopCap makes life fun. And it's just not true.
Wow, okay. So
I
speaking
agree.
of mobile games that turn into platform games, I'm afraid we're going to have to be real quick on this one. In fact, let's boil it down to a single sentence. Why in 2016 is this even a game? Eli. You are muted, sir. You are gone, sir. Fred, why is this mobile game? Why is this game that started mobile
it's
turned
funny
into
because
platform?
I feel like watching this trailer really makes me feel like you've got a point when you say that.
Sorry
Fred,
about that.
One sec, Eli.
Yeah,
Fred.
let me finish up. This is a trailer that shows you no gameplay whatsoever.
No gameplay,
Correct me if I'm wrong. And then that may be, to be fair, that may be our fault because sometimes we're rushing, compiling those trailers together. So maybe we didn't pick the right trailer. But at the end of the day, it's been 3 weeks of PR that I see Planet vs. Zombies all over my face everywhere I go, and I still don't know what the game looks like. And I feel like there's probably a lot of us out there.
You'd be very disappointed.
Having said this is a great mobile. I'm hesitant to say it now. This is a great mobile game. I've had a lot of fun. Even it's a great Vita game. Would I ever play this on PC? I'm surprised. I guess that's my conclusion. That the guys behind Battlefield 4, the guys behind Mass Effect, would pick up this game from whatever developer and made it part of their franchise.
Well,
and I know what you're gonna say, Steven. You're gonna say money. You're gonna say
well,
money.
not necessarily. See, this is the game that is a departure from the Plants vs. Zombies world, where it's actually a third-person shooter with plants, which might explain a little bit more if you've never seen the game why the guys from Battlefield are doing this game. It's really weird.
I assumed it was the same thing as the original Plants vs. Zombies.
No, it's actually Garden Warfare is their offshoot where it's a third-person capture the flag type of situation where you have.
So there's nothing to do with tower defense?
Nothing. Well, it's basically tower defense with some of that other stuff. But anyway, we got to move forward. Paris real quick, and then we got to move on to Disgaea. Go.
Okay, so it is a third-person shooter that is could be given to a demographic that can see this safely. Oh, there's no blood. You're just shooting seeds at zombies that don't bleed. That's good. That's money for them. Good job.
But zombies gotta bleed, yo. Anyway.
Yeah, well,
doesn't answer the question, though. That doesn't answer the question that we raised. Why Origin? Battlefield is the pride and joy of PC gaming. Like
ka-ching. I mean, the fact of the matter is, whether we like it or not, EA, that has money behind it. So
I knew that'd be your answer. See,
of course
I knew it. It's a cop out. It's a bad answer.
It is a cop out, but here's the thing. As the admitted EA supporter, except for Battlefront, I actually like EA. I like the stuff.
Yeah, I'm one of the last ones convinced that EA brings something to the PC platform, and they bring a lot.
That's fair. They brought us some of the best RPGs ever. Speaking of RPGs, Eli will probably like this. Disgaea has hit PC. So, tell us about Disgaea. Disgaea.
All right. Well, I'm just going to say K. I can't say that word. 2 years after the death of his father, Overlord K, the demon prince Lahara, awakens to discover the netherworld is in turmoil. With unlikely allies, his devious vessel Etna, and the angel trainee Flown, I think that's how you say it, he must battle his way to supremacy to retake the throne and become the next Overlord. Experience the SRPG classic now on PC.
Chris.
All right, so this is like a pretty dry description, so I'm just going to read it very quickly.
Cool.
NAS America Inc. is a subsidiary of Nippon Ichi Software Inc. of Japan, which established its North America operations in December 24, 2003. Based in Santa Ana, California, NAS America Inc. handles operations including localization, marketing, and publishing of Nippon Ichi titles. Nippon Ichi Software Incorporated was founded in 1994 in Kiev, Japan as an entertainment company. Since then, Nippon Ichi Software Inc. has grown into an international company focused on creating innovative video game products. NIS Inc. is committed to marketing the most innovative and creative titles in the industry. We at NIS America Inc. will continue to work hard to bring exciting new titles to satisfy both our fans and new users.
Is this on mobile?
Sold to the man in the Mario shirt.
Yes. Is this on mobile?
It is. It's not necessarily mobile. I don't believe it's mobile. Fred, I gotta mention, Disgaea has a very big pedigree for console RPGs. This is not a mobile title.
Do not diss the Disgaea. That game is fucking incredible. So
yeah, this is not.
If you've never played a Disgaea game,
yeah, actually, I think Dan Wheeler would be with you on this.
If you've never played Disgaea, I recommend you playing it. It's a game that needs to be experienced. Even if you don't like anime.
I'm sorry. I actually did not know that was this guy. I've seen it on the spreadsheet for this week for the writers, and I know there's been it's widely anticipated. And I was gonna give it its fate. Thank you, Shane, for putting me back in the corner and say, "Come the F down."
I have a question. If I might ask it about this game.
Chris, go.
Is it kind of like Final Fantasy Tactics? I'm not familiar with this guy at all.
Yeah, it's sort of, kind of. It's your standard. It's your standard issue JRPG with dude.
With what?
With dude.
Oh, gotcha.
I wouldn't say. I mean, I wouldn't call it standard. I mean, this. No, I mean, this game came. You have to remember when this game came out, right? I mean, if you compare it now, sure, you can say but this game came out a long time ago. I mean, this is one of the early games on the PS2. So I mean, this game has a lot of unique things about it. Like, I can go on for hours about the different things that other games don't do with this series. So I mean, Fire Emblem is good. I love Fire Emblem. I really do. But I mean, come on. The main character of the story changes bosses' names around in the middle of the story, which is hilarious. And you get to be Power Rangers. I mean, come on. Like, I don't know.
Well, honestly, awesome. Shane, I hate to raise
ridiculousness. Yeah.
I will be fanboying when Final Fantasy IX finally comes out on Steam. That's all I really care about. I couldn't care at all about the rest of them, to be honest with you. Fred, go, and then we're gonna move forward.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta push your buttons here, Shane. Like,
you're good.
Because I feel like no studio should get a cop out just because it's got a history or like. I guess I have one question for you: is what makes this different from RPG makers? What makes this different from?
Maybe not. Channel right now, sir.
You're right. No. Don't answer that question. What makes it so great?
Okay, so I think you're looking at it as this game being released to everybody like once, when this is not what's happening. What's happening here is the PC is finally getting a chance to crack at the original Disgaea, where originally when the game launched, it was very difficult to get a hold of it. Copies were going for $150 to $200, and it was very difficult to get it. So this is the first time Disgaea is really hitting Steam and really hitting the PC world. So I wouldn't say necessarily that it's doing anything innovative in this time, day, and space. But for the people who didn't get a chance to experience it, this is why this game's coming out for Steam. That's what's happening here.
The truth of the matter is Disgaea.
It's the gameplay. Like, when this game came out, the gameplay is phenomenal. Okay, it's like Fire Emblem, and I'm not knocking Fire Emblem. I'm a huge fan for Fire Emblem. Very big, very big. I love it. But Disgaea takes what Fire Emblem has, I want to say, turns it upside down and creates so many different more rules, and there's so much satire in it. It makes you laugh. It makes you think about things in different ways, and it's completely absurd. You just have to play it to kind of see what I'm getting at here, but it's like a comedy game, but with a ton of strategy in it. You have to give it a shot.
Yeah, think of it this way, Fred. Just like how we see all these copycat type of games, there has to be an original, and this is honestly an original. This is one of the games that caused many of the copycats. It did it so well that everybody started pulling inspiration or just straight out lifting aspects of this game. So the fact that PC gamers are finally getting a chance to know what console gamers have known for years, it's a wonderful thing. I really do. And I do have to support. It's MST3K with Fire Emblem in a blender.
Right.
That's
right.
that's this game.
Right.
That being said, it's awesome. Fred, just play it. You'll love it, and then you'll be screaming "dude" everywhere you go.
Dude, that's
Next trailer. Next trailer, folks.
Dude.
We are gonna go to Battlestation Harbinger, which sounds, it sounds like a space game. Please tell me it's not.
It's a space game.
That's what's gonna make it good.
Shane, what is this game in space?
Battlestation Harbinger is a hard sci-fi space exploration game blending roguelike, turn-based star map strategy and real-time space battles. You are a young commander given the task to venture out into enemy territories far away from home to unknown galaxies, never knowing what you'll face as you jump out of hyperspace. In Battlestation Harbinger, you will have to make decisions regarding your fleet and equipment, face surprising elements, and battle fiercely for survival as you defend humanity. Strategy tactics and resource management are the core of Battlestation Harbinger. Plan your ship's offenses and defensives, fortify your ships against enemy weapons, and wield them wisely. Lure your enemies into traps or distract your foes with distress beacons.
Okay,
Chris, what is this thing that we're looking at real quick?
Can we get a mobile check while Chris speaks, please?
I doubt this is a mobile game, but it's made by a company called Bugbyte, which is particularly cute because Byte is spelled B-Y-T-E. And it's an independent game studio based in Turku, Finland. They're a team of gamers with a passion for creating their own games. In addition to their 3-man team, they are lucky to have a group of amazing collaborators who help them create awesome games. In fact, they at Bugbyte are primarily focused on charity games. That's interesting, charity games.
And
This time, we want to do something truly epic, something for the hardcore gamers. The old spirit lives on, though, and we look forward to helping charities in the future.
And the game is actually a mobile game. It is
But it's for charity, so
$3.99.
that makes it okay.
It is for charity, yeah, I guess, but it is $3.99 on the Google Play Store. Go, and then we'll move forward. Religious.
I'm looking at this, and off the top of my head, I think.
Haven't we seen this a lot already?
Can't make fun of it. It's for donations.
I can.
Well, first of all, I would like to say that just because it's for a good cause, I think that gives it even a higher standard to be held to.
Man, if I'm
'Cause
going
you
to hell,
don't-
I
you don't
want to have
want-
a reason.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess, right? I think though, like if you're gonna make a game for charity, you almost want it to be better, right? Because you don't want games made for charity to be associated with poor quality.
Do you want
Yeah,
a crap
really.
game to support your charity?
Yeah, right?
no one. It's true. I mean,
You don't want to
you're helping
disappoint
anybody
your
if you make a
African
shit
people.
game.
But more than that, though, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting, but it also looks like I'm looking at it and I don't see anything that differentiates it from literally every space game, every quote unquote
I wanna
space
go a
sim
step
I've come
forward.
out.
I want to go a step beyond what Fred said. Instead of a mobile check, I want a price check. How much is it on Steam right now? Is it more or less than the mobile price that I just quoted?
And actually, can I ask something, Steven? Is it not disingenuous to actually say in the trailer we wanted the real PC gaming experience? We wanted to bring this to PC gamers when it's actually on mobile. That's why actually the mobile check. I feel like it's like, hey, this is the trailer that we're gonna release for PC. So let's fine tune our messaging for a PC audience. It's kind of like it comes back to the first trailer that we saw where it's about finding a way to dupe the audience. This is something that immediately I feel like we should condone as press. Do not dupe us.
Yeah, that's right. If you're gonna dupe, let us do the duping. See, that's how the press works, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how this works. Shane, and then we'll move on.
Okay.
And yeah,
I have two things. You know how I feel about space. I don't want to go to space just so I can work and look at wallpapers in the background. That's kind of how I feel.
so no
But-
EVE Online. Gotcha.
Yeah. So, but the other point is we were talking about Twitch earlier, right? And a lot of people on Twitch will try to make their channel big or get fame by saying this is for charity. When I play and you give me money, this goes to charity, and it really builds their channel, and it gets, I wouldn't say fake views, but it's a good way to get above the competition. So I don't know if this is something that's like similar to that, and I don't want to say I don't want to see charity games, but I also don't like it at all. You know what I mean? I don't like the idea of like, hey, this is a charity game, so if you don't buy it, well, you suck. So I don't
it's
like
basically making people feel bad for saying exactly what we're saying right now. So forget the fact that it's released on Steam. Forget the fact that it's a mobile game. That in and of itself is kind of disingenuous. So it sounds like if I'm going to hell, they're coming with me.
8 minutes.
Paris, your thoughts, and then we move forward real quick. We probably won't get to all of them tonight, but I at least want to hit 20. Damn it. Go.
Okay, quick thoughts then. I'm glad this kind of game came out because I did a rant about seeing too many of these games, and this just helps prove my point. It's like, okay, we actually do keep seeing these games. Second point, the game should always just be judged by the game itself. If it's a bad game, it's a bad game. If it does well in charity, that's a plus for the person, or for the company, or for the team, but not for the game. Still judge that on its own. Not gotta put charity in it. You could bash this game all you like. You aren't gotta bash the charity.
That's fair. That's fair.
I do want
fair.
to. I do want to throw in just a pinch of hesitation in kind of this bashing that we've been about this trailer. Is that game that there's the space game that looks very very basic. It's about building your spaceship. I forget the name exactly, and it was a resounding success in the industry, and nobody would have guessed. Do you know what game I'm talking about? You know, very very basic, like 8-pixel game. In space.
Is it that one with the little boxes that you like put together and that's your shit?
It's the one of the biggest, like, shitty looking space game.
Fred, I hope you're not talking about
FTL.
FTL. I played FTL a lot, and that game's amazing. It's
And
one
like,
of the deepest strategy games I've ever played.
like, had we
And the soundtrack was awesome.
And to be fair, and it's just a pinch of salt. I can't believe I'm like the good sheep tonight. Like, just a pinch of salt. Like, had we seen FTL on a trailer, we would have probably given it the fate that we're giving this one.
Not me. I probably would have liked it.
You predict.
I was going to say, Fred, I hope you're not going to say Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time because that was actually an awesome game.
No, that
And
was.
it was
I would not. Perry, I'd love to hear if Paris lets your review.
Well,
No,
you know
okay,
what?
first-
I'm
No,
gonna
actually,
make.
let's move on. Let's move on.
I'm gonna make Stylo. I'm gonna make Stylo hate me because I have a special request in case he hasn't heard. Stylo, can we skip right to the last game on this list? I want to devote at least the last 5 minutes.
No.
to this
We gotta go over SUPERHOT, man. I wrote an
but we've
article about
got-
this.
Super
Everything happening this Sunday, don't we, Fred?
Let's do.
I even dug out my old
we gotta touch on the last
Gotta
one.
talk about it.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right, then two more. Then let's just
Two
do these
more.
two.
If we can do
Okay,
super
two
hot.
more, and then Fred's gonna have to stop whining about us
You
going
see what
overtime.
Gray said?
If
That's
we
kind
can
of
do
a good
super
question.
caliente, ¿qué te pasa, amigo?
You see what
if
Gray
we-
said? That's kind of a good question, though.
Do
Yeah.
you think all hate? Do you think you all hate space games so you can't give it an honest review? No.
I love
I
space.
don't
games.
I love
First of all,
space.
first of all, the
Don't let these
views.
people convince you anything otherwise.
The
Space
views
games are
of
anything
the
other than
people of
great.
this show.
Space games are excellent. Stylo loves space games. I know Eli
And my
plays space
favorite
games.
friend in the
Captain Picard over here
industry
obviously
is the
plays space
guy
games.
behind Starpoint Gemini. He's my favorite guy in the industry.
And I happen to say that I like space games. It's just I don't like the fact that it has become the easy to go to solution for any.
I agree
indie-
to that. I
any
agree.
indie
Yes,
devs.
I feel like that.
That's very
Building
dynamic.
with a
He's right,
wallpaper.
Chris. He's right.
We are going to do two
right.
games. We're
How
going to
many
do
games take place on Earth? I mean, come on.
No.
Chris,
Steven Steven in making that statement is for once, Steven, I completely agree with you.
You know what?
You
I'm
agree
hosting
with
next
me a
week. This
lot,
is all
sir.
bullshit.
Yeah,
but
but
what
I
we're going to
feel
do is
like
we're going
it's
to shut you up for a second. We're going to go to super hot.
Super hot.
We're going to do super hot, super fast.
Thank you for.
I feel
A
like
unique
Stylo is
first-person
different.
shooter game where time moves only when you move, making each level a deadly puzzle.
That is the game that brought Chris. That
Yeah,
give
this
Chris
is
is super. Oh
really
my
interesting.
god, I
This is the
remember.
I still have the article here
This
too. I
is
just pulled it up.
history.
Yeah, this
The
is
article
back in the
where
Phantom days.
when John
Dude.
Fentiman emailed me, he emailed me in the subject line Chris Kellogg with 3 exclamation points. Because probably he was desperate out of all
Probably
the
was.
shitty writers he had met.
I've
And I
never
remember,
used
I was like,
that.
Chris Kellogg, who the F is that? Like, maybe I had met you once, Chris. I remember
Yeah,
way
this
back.
was
We
like
did
the
like.
second, this is. I was still in the proving
Yeah,
ground. This
and
is
I
one of the
saw,
ways I showed you
and
guys
all
I
it
knew how to
said,
write.
the subject line was Chris Kellogg with 3 exclamation points, and it was a news update on this game. And it was your
Yeah.
attachment.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yes.
So
That's
go
true.
ahead,
This is
Chris.
all
Let
correct.
yourself go.
So,
You
Chris-
got it's yours. It
So
is
I'm gonna
a
read.
year
I'm gonna
ago.
read what
This
I
is a
wrote
year
directly
ago.
from my own article rather than the developer description. Because
You're so fresh.
Yeah, what is this golden eye looking rip? Tell us about it.
No. This is nothing. So you can actually play the demo in the Unity web player on their websites, which is pretty cool. So you just need the Unity player plugin to play this. SUPERHOT is actually one of the more unique games I had ever played up to that point. It works like this. Time only moves when your character is moving. So as you walk through a hall, the enemies can move and the bullets can move. But if you stand still, there's nothing happens at all. And you can actually think about what you want to do. So you go, okay, I'm going to move to the right like 5 steps and then quickly aim at the head and shoot. And if you make the wrong decision, maybe the enemy will do that to you. And it becomes this amazing dance where you're planning all these perfect maneuvers on how to, shoot other people. And one of the things they're eventually going to add, or I guess they did add, because I played this, almost a year and a half ago, they've added the ability to have samurai swords where, like, because you can manipulate time, you can cut bullets in half with swords. And, like, amazingly cool slow motion stuff.
We have to request an interview. We have.
So what you're telling me, Chris? What you're telling me is essentially this is the Matrix and every John Woo movie crashed into one.
Yeah, this is like what Matrix games should have been doing all this time. This is like the only other bullet time that I ever liked was in Max Payne, and this puts that to shame. It puts it to shame.
Nice.
This feels really dynamic and new. And you don't even have to take my word for it. Just go to their website right now.
This is a game that made you VP.
So let me get this right. So I'm looking at this. So what you're getting at now that I see what you're saying, this game actually looks pretty freaking incredible. So I take it if you're really good and you're really smart, it's gonna look like a movie, right? So like you're just gonna flow through it really quick. It's not gonna stop. It's just gonna be like really fast.
Tarantino meets like the Matrix.
Yeah, okay, this is pretty sick. Right. Yeah, I like it. I like
Paris. I just want to know what Paris has to say to bring his hand to outer space.
I want to know what it is, and then we got to get to the very last one because it ties into something else. Okay. Go Paris, go.
Yes.
Okay, this is like one of the prime examples of just simple ideas making really amazing games. With SUPERHOT, it's just this is the inverse of the whole. A lot of games, they have bullet time as something that builds up, and then you use it, and then you go slow motion. This is the inverse of that, where every moment is practically slow motion. You can make it. This puts you basically in the eyes of an action hero, where, like, this would be if you're Neo in the Matrix. This is what Neo's seeing. All these things coming at him, slow motion. Just, I know exactly what's got to happen. And I can actually take as long as I want to plan out and how I'm going to move in real time. And the real time moves just become sort of just this quick chess, because it's a brutal game where it's like the bullets, just one bullet will kill you. And they move like as a bullet you would expect a bullet to. As soon as you start to move, they're just hailing at you, and
you pick up ammo at the right time, and you grab guns out of their hands and use it on the next guy, and it gets crazy. You have to you have to snowball all your steps to come up with these amazing, beautiful death scenes.
I could keep gushing, but we kind of want to get some stuff.
Yeah, we do want to get some stuff going.
Go play it.
You can slash bullets with a katana. That's awesome.
That being said, so basically this is your chance to live out as an action star. Speaking of action stars and movies, oh boy, the biggest game on this list, the biggest one I'm looking forward to, is going to be releasing very, 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 very soon, and we're going to make Stylo very unhappy because we're going to jump all the way to the end. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to look at all the games, but we are going to take a look at these other games that we didn't get to next Tuesday at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, 6:30 Pacific.
You're hopeful. Let's instead say that for every trailer we miss, we'll schedule an interview with the devs and we'll let them talk about their games.
No,
so let's actually make Steven work his ass off.
No, you see, here's the fun part about that. We still need to find out if they're even worth it, because the last thing I want to do is get somebody on an interview and say, hey, your game's really good. Have you played it? Yeah. What'd you think? It sucked. And I don't want to get into that situation again.
I mean, we've got 20 minutes of trailers we missed. So
we do, but you know what? It's worth skipping them all for this one.
Yes.
Beautiful, glorious God.
Which I have a lot of things to say about. So you better give me the microphone at some point.
No, I am not, sir. So we are going to talk about this wonderful, glorious game, the newest game in the Far Cry universe that has nothing to do with neon or cassette tapes. It is Far Cry Primal. Shane, go.
Welcome to the Stone Age, a time of extreme danger and limitless adventure where giant mammoths and saber-toothed tigers rule the earth and humanity is at the bottom of the food chain. As the last survivor of your hunting group, You will learn to craft deadly arsenal, fend off fierce predators, and outsmart enemy tribes to conquer the land of Oros and become the apex predator.
I really don't think they need any honest introduction. It's Ubisoft, since Chris has a chair right now. Ubisoft is a leading creator, publisher, distributor of interactive entertainment services, blah, 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 Assassin's Creed, blah, blah, blah. Beyond Good and Evil. Oh, wait, they don't like that one anymore. Rayman. No, they don't like that one anymore either. The long and short, my God, it's Far Cry. It's awesome. There's nothing more I can say about this. You get to pet animals too, but you get to shoot them too. Well, shoot them with primal tools. Fred, what?
Okay, yeah, no, I just like to kind of frame the debate here, and I'm not going to speak too long, but I'm going to give it a good introduction. I've always been a fan of first-person shooters, but I've always been an unconventional fan of first-person shooters in the sense that I have never, maybe because I'm bad at them, but I've never enjoyed those games online. I've always enjoyed a great solo campaign that's difficult to get through, that's very compelling, that just gets you into the guns, gets you into the action, and by the time you're finished with that solo campaign, you don't know what to do anymore. You don't know what to do. You know, when you get through a great game and you're like, at the end, you're excited, you feel like you get that feeling of accomplishment, but at the same time, the next day, you're like, what do I do with my life now? That, for me, was Far Cry 1. I went through Far Cry 1 and it blew me away, and it was very like, it wasn't at the time, if I can remember it correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong here, at the time it wasn't the open world that it is today. The really like you approach and you gotta go on every single, and like there's the completionist aspect. It's very, now it's like all about like how much of a completionist are you. I feel like when I play Far Cry, that's really the question that's been asked to me the whole time. Let me finish my point.
Oh no,
The first one was all about, no, there's a beginning, there's an end. It's a beautiful universe, but God, is the gameplay damn good. The progression of the gameplay from easy, get to know the game mechanics, all the way to the end, the new species introduced, very much had the qualities that I found in Resident Evil, a completely different genre, but still like in the introduction of new species, the challenge leveling up with the introduction of new species, they had that like down. And that game, all the way to the end, I came out of Far Cry 1 thinking that was my best FPS experience ever, and I'm 33 today, like I said earlier on the show. I probably played that game when I was 16, 17. So this game is probably like 16, 17, if not 20 years old. And then every single experience since Far Cry 1 has been one disappointment after the next. And it's also been a progressive, slippery slope to Far Cry 4. If anything, Far Cry 3 for me was kind of like, Mom, I'm enjoying this, I'm having some fun. Far Cry 2, I really like the African one, I didn't get into at all. Far Cry 4 was so scattered. It was a scattered experience. It wasn't a bad game. I wouldn't say it was a bad game, but it was scattered as hell. I played it. I think I gave it 20 hours, which is a reasonable amount of time for me. And so I look at this, and I look at, holy moly. Like, on one hand, I want to say, this is Ubisoft Montreal kind of answering my disappointment in Far Cry 3, 2, and 4, and like actually like going, okay, wait, we're gonna rethink this, we're gonna restructure this, and I'm hoping that's what it is. And I also want, before I shut up, and I'm about to, I also want to call out Tomb Raider reboot, because to me that's what it looks like. It looks like a reboot of a franchise that we've grown old with. I'm hoping this is Far Cry. It doesn't need to be like, and that's why I'm kind of excited about it, because it's the fact that, oh wow, you don't have guns anymore. That is bold. Like, that is a bold move for the Far Cry franchise. I'm hoping it's a great fucking game. I feel like there's, yeah, that's where I close. I think I've said it all about my opinions about the Far Cry franchise. I'm hoping this is a great fucking game, and I'm excited about it. And I hope I won't be disappointed, but I might be.
Well, to be fair, and Fred, you and I talked about this before we got on the show today. Far Cry 1 and 2 are a far cry, ha ha ha, from what we've got now. The Far Cry series started pretty seriously, and then it started to slip off the rails of the crazy train. Basically, Far Cry 1 and 2 took itself seriously. The Far Cry series to me is like Saints Row. The first game took itself super seriously. The second game, a little less so. And then it totally jumped the crazy train and started jumping off the tracks around 3. And then we got Blood Dragon, which was awesome.
Still a great villain. You're right about the crazy thing. Still, it was a great villain.
Yeah, it totally didn't even remotely take itself seriously by about Far Cry 4. And then we hit Blood Dragon where it totally lost its shit. And now we have Far Cry Primal, which looks like it's trying to be that serious version again. I can't imagine you're going to have a lot of the same humor in Far Cry Primal where you're legitimately just trying to survive at this point. So it's going to be very interesting. It's a gorgeous game, without question. And I have no problem saying that what we saw in the trailer there, that's gameplay. Because the Far Cry games are, bar none, benchmarks for fantastic looking graphics. The mechanics, not so much, where it becomes that collection hoarding type of thing, which every Ubisoft game has suffered from Assassin's Creed to Watch Dogs to everything else that they've done. Hell, Rayman was literally just a collection game, if we boil it right down. And that's what they're known for. Chris, then Celagist, then Shane.
So I agree with like a lot of what I've heard, except for the comparison between like Far Cry 1 and 2. I just like feel like Far Cry 2 and everything that's come after that has been this kind of game about a guy who's like gone kind of native in this sort of exotic world, right? Whereas Far Cry 1 was like, you're just an ex-Marine on a fucking boat ride one day who got like tossed out of his ship.
First-person shooter, right?
Yeah, but part of the great part of that is that you are you're kind of like this nameless person who you're not giving a lot of personality to, and when that usually does well with that type of open world, like that was truly an open world relative to the Far Cries after that, I thought, because it would just give you objectives and you could just tackle them however you wanted. Almost stopped my beer over there. You could just tackle them however you wanted, kind of like Crysis. And in a lot of ways, Crysis is an evolution of Far Cry. Obviously, same company, but like it's really an extension of that idea.
Interesting.
You're just a powerful guy in an open world, and you're given missions, but you're basically not told how to do them, and you can kind of just ignore them if you felt like it. But Far Cry 2 just felt like the GTA Grand Theft Autoization of that entire process, with tiny missions and little bullshit to do all the time that basically felt irrelevant and was kind of distracting and wasn't that interesting. And I just felt like Far Cry failed after the first one because it wasn't even the same game. Like I said, it's just like you're like this person that's gone native, and sometimes the stories are just pathetically bad, like reality TV bad, and the characters are shallow and fucking dumb people, and you just don't like them and you don't sympathize with them. And I just didn't really. I've bought, I think, every Far Cry game that's come out. I've been disappointed pretty much every single time. Occasionally you get, like you said, those moments of like sweet action and like really good graphics, and it all comes together in this really amazing explosive package that does have its like moments. But I just found it to be just full of side missions that I didn't care about, and it's totally beside the point, which is you're like supposed to be a guy in this huge world that is really trying to figure it out for themselves, not being hand-fed vehicles and waypoints and fucking medicines and buddies and cell phone calls and all this crap that it's all GTA 5 packed into fucking Far Cry.
You said
I gotta admit that the game there weren't really any memorable characters. I think the only one that was ever memorable for me was Pagan Min, the villain of 4. But
actually,
for
me,
what happened with the story of Far Cry 1?
It's not.
Yeah,
we got to get about the transgens or whatever they were called. Like,
I don't think it's about the character.
It totally disappeared.
I think if anything, the problem is not the characters. If anything, the characters are the highlights of bad games of the 3 and 4, which are pretty bad games.
I don't know about.
Aren't even that compelling. They're like boring.
That's the problem.
No, the bad guys of the third, the bad guy,
the villains
was fucking good.
The villains were cool, and some of those guys, the shamanette or the shaman chicks that were like doing blood rituals on you and like making out with you while you were tripping on stuff. That was pretty wild. I admit there were some moments where you're like, whoa, this is weird.
You just like the first person stab of that ending. By the way, spoilers.
I've had Oculus Rift. I've seen it all.
Shane, what are your thoughts?
Well, they're starting off. for me, I mean, it already has like a dog pissing on somebody or a wolf, and it has naked tribal chicks. So I mean, I'm already sold from the beginning. But for me, I love Monster Hunter a lot. I'm a huge Monster Hunter fan. I adore it. And this right here is like Monster Hunter for the adults, right? Like, and that's kind of how I feel when I see this game. Like, you're out against these tribes, you're hunting animals, you're getting, equipment. I'm sure you're taking stuff that you find off these animals and making more weapons and more gear. And obviously the graphics are, phenomenal. So just looking at Far Cry Primal, I think the Primal part to me is very significant to the title because it's trying to separate itself from all the other Far Cries, I think. And
Shane, can I ask you something?
Go ahead.
Are you looking for a Far Cry 4 experience as far as crafting dependency goes? Because Far Cry 4 is all about crafting.
I'm looking for an experience where when I see this game, I see Monster Hunter. I'm looking for a game where they throw me out in the wilderness, and if I want to be a badass, I got to kill the next badass. So if I got to take, for example, if, putting the wolf head on your, wearing the wolf's head makes you a badass, then you have to go find a wolf, kill it, and put it on your head. So
you're happy
like
with
that.
the current mechanics that Far Cry kind of really has evolved into, which is crafting.
If it's done like this, like Monster Hunter style, where it's like you want to be a badass, go be a badass. Don't sit there. Like I'm not so much into picking flowers. Like I don't care about like
Far Cry makes you pick
herbs.
Flowers and shit and like
right.
bones and
But
but the problem is that it's not hard.
Right,
who cares? It's not entertaining. It's dumb.
It's not entertaining because it's not a challenge.
If you have to kill
Flower Simulator, Flower Picking Simulator 2016.
I just don't understand why you're putting all this crafting in a fundamentally action-oriented game. It's like you're trying to be too much.
Like if
Skyrim,
is coming from
Oblivion.
Those aren't really action games, man. Those are RPGs.
But if the crafting is coming from hunting down different animals, if the crafting is coming from hunting down animals, killing tribes, and that's the hunting. That's the crafting, is like going out and doing and killing these things. I'm cool with that. I'm not cool with picking up trees and plants, but I'm cool with saying, hey, you need this amount of fur.
It's got to be action oriented.
Yeah,
essentially.
you're right. And I think that's cool. You can make crafting fun. You can. You just don't make it picking flowers. You make it killing giant mammoths.
I hate to say, I think they can. Basically, what Shane is saying is that they can, if they did this right, they could actually save the recipe in which they've evolved into.
Right.
Well,
which I think is fair. Let's give them the bit. I mean, we're gonna comment, right, Steven? Because
here's the question, though, because exactly, and since Chris is so much better pitchman than you are, Fred. Chris, what do we got coming up this Sunday regarding Far Cry?
You caught me in the headlights.
That's awesome.
No idea.
Fred, since your VP doesn't know what the hell we're doing this Sunday,
is it your
why don't you and I talk about
this Sunday, this is an invitation.
No, it's not a tournament.
This is an invitation to all the folks who are interested in playing Far Cry on the OPNoobs stream this Sunday. AAA Anonymous returns. After Rise of the Tomb Raider, after XCOM 2, we are introducing Far Cry Primal at 9:30 p.m. on twitch.tv/OPNoobsOnline. Your hosts, Steven Stanisiewski, Fred Britzi, Ben Kroll, Caitlin Manka, and Eli Ross, and anybody else willing, I'm guessing. We'll have the game available on the OPN Steam account, so we'll be able to plug them into the calendar and play some Far Cry. Let's try and split the time evenly. And we'll be giving our first initial feedback for a 2-hour-long series of Far Cry Primal, benefiting from Fred's great gameplay footage. I'm done, Steven.
Are you sure? Is it just going to be us looking at the menus?
No, it's going to be Fred going into the wild.
He's just gonna go around and just
restart his computer like 6 times.
Yeah,
he's just gonna go through and slaughter all the flowers.
I just
I can't get 144 frames per second.
I hope that my performance. I hope the game's performance is gonna be great, or else I'm gonna choke.
Yeah, because you're not having a lot of good luck lately with your fantastic SLI setup.
No, but what's funny is that like after a couple weeks. I don't know what happening, like Steam doing a download, what I'm not noticing, but after a couple weeks, suddenly I'm getting my frame rates.
Yeah.
But usually, yeah, games when they launch, I always maybe it's because I run an SLI rig. Like usually, games when they launch give me issues. It's often.
Yeah, it's
but,
SLI.
yeah,
Yeah.
it happens. It happens way more than I wish it did.
Yeah, but it's kind of a pain in the ass to have a great setup and have games come out that should
I mean,
support it.
that's a massive issue. I think it's also an issue that I hate to say was touched upon during the interview yesterday with the developer. I think there's just developers accept to release an unpolished product on PC, knowing that they'll patch it, whereas on console that's unacceptable.
Well,
and I feel that's wrong.
I
they
think
don't even release full games
Yes,
anymore.
it's morally wrong because we're just customers like console gamers are, and yeah, we're testers. Yeah, we're here to contribute a lot more than console gamers are. That's why beta comes onto PC. That's why early access. That's why all that. But at the end of the day, my philosophy is when you release a game on PC, it should be just as polished as console gaming games are because we are consumers just like they are.
I agree. I think with the SLI thing, I think the only time I've heard it explained so properly, I guess you can say, is when the triple screen was like the big thing to do in War. The big thing to do. But in WoW and Blizzard, they supported it, but it was ridiculously buggy. And when they were asked that question, they simply just said, "Well, the majority of people don't have that, and that takes a lot of time and development and resources to attune that to it
BS,
being
yeah.
perfect," right? Which I agree with you on that. So I think that's kind of their.
I mean, yeah.
That's
Blizzard
kinda,
has so much money.
No, I agree
They
with
never
you.
have the
I totally
excuse of-
agree with
yeah.
you. I don't think that SLI it should. I think that's the point of the PC is that if I'm on PC, I get to play those games at that level. So you should make it work when it comes out. That's how I feel about that.
Especially when you're making like $20 million a month out of one game.
I actually kind of hate the fact that we even have to have this discussion at this point. I mean, if this
Show's
is supposed
over.
to be it is over, but I'm going to say one thing. If we are supposed to be the platform that computers make the games, all right? We have the platform that makes the games for the consoles. We've got all the power, damn it. Why are we getting
I want to
the
acknowledge
Game Awards?
I want to acknowledge Light Massa. Light Massa, you're not alone. Especially when you go on PCgamer.com, this game runs fantastic on my Titan, and then everybody else's Titan runs at 20 frames per second, and you're wondering like, what's going on? Why aren't we like bashing this? Why does XCOM, a game that looks somewhat average at best, I would say,
it's Unreal 3. It's like it's an old
gives
engine
you
now.
the option to have an anti-aliasing 8x that brings your frames per second on a SLI rig with 980 Ti's all the way down to 30 frames per second. You're like, are you kidding
Well,
me?
that's
Like
because we
XCOM
can't
2.
have anything better than the console peasants.
And
Let's
then
not
you
Hey
forget
man,
about
that's
that.
that's console mode.
Yeah, but then
Right.
you
Not
go
even-
to mainstream press and nobody talks about it. That's my problem so much.
Because we now have come to accept it, and that is something for another time. I think that should be your
That
first
is.
manifesto. Fred.
Close it.
So that being
Close it.
said, we are going to close this up. We're going to wrap this up. Sorry to all the games that we haven't. Why am I saying sorry to the games? We are going to cover those games next week, regardless of what somebody says. And then this Sunday, we're going to talk about Far Cry Primal. Hopefully, Fred will change his mind. If he doesn't, we'll just stab him and then piss on the remains. But for everybody from OPNoobs, I am Steven. This is the team. Fred, do you want to take us out with jazz hands? You know you want to.
Jazz hands.
You know you want to.
It's gotta be
Jazz
done.
hands.
Yeah.